Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is a donation deck from Patreon subscriber Puchipo. And Puchipo has me playing Dress Down, Stifle Not. So Dress Down is a new card for Modern Horizons 2. It's an enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures lose all abilities, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Dress Down. So this is a cool trick that they've managed to print an enchantment that dies at the end of turn, so it's kind of like a sorcery that does what you want it to. For timestamp reasons, if this was a sorcery, or not a sorcery, an instant that said creatures lose abilities this turn, it would only affect the creatures that were in play when you cast the sorcery, but being an enchantment that sticks around for the turn, you get to clean up everything that would come into play later too, and everything that's already in play. So this is a super cool effect. It's cool they figured out how to print this. But most importantly, what it does is it takes Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. When this enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you sacrifice any number of creatures with power 12 or greater ability off of the card. It can be counterintuitive to think of it this way, but most drawbacks are actually abilities, at least in the terms of Magic rules. Anything that's printed on a card is its ability, even if that ability is bad for you. So we get to Dress Down, put in Phyrexian Dreadnought, 3 mana, 12/12. Dress Down even cantrips on the way through, so that's cool. The classic interaction here, of course, is Dreadnought and Stifle. You Stifle that enters the battlefield trigger, and then you have a 12/12. Now we have 8 of that effect. And to round out the deck, Uro is also a fun card to Stifle. There's an ability that Pokemoki has built a career on, which is you can play your Uro on turn 3 like you're supposed to, the front half of Uro. Then 2 abilities trigger. There's the when this enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped, which is a separate ability from when Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, and you can put a land into play. So you stack the sacrifice ability first, so it resolves last. So before you sacrifice it, you draw your card, put your land into play. Then you can use that land to cast Stifle on the sacrifice trigger, and then you just have an Uro in play ready to attack on turn 4. So we have 2 ways to abuse Stifle here proactively, and then of course there is the defensive Stifle, just stifling opposing fetch lands. You got a 1 mana Stone Rain, enjoy your profits. And then Stifle, backed by Wasteland and Daze, can stop people from playing the game. This is a very classic Rug Delver sort of interaction. So that's our plan. Things about this list that I think are notable, for better or for worse. It is trying to cast some expensive cards in its Wasteland Daze deck. Like Jace is kind of expensive, the back half of Uro is kind of expensive, and there's 4 Uros. This is very much part of the plan. So that might come up. That's a little bit of tension. I think the Noble Hierarchs and the large basic count will help in that situation, but that might come up. We'll see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands in the deck that are not islands to go with Daze. That also might come up. And most importantly, and this is a conversation that came up in my Patreon Discord the other day. By the way, if you want to talk about Magic and 24/7, I have a pretty cool Discord. Patreon links are in the video description below. It's $5 a month to get access to the Discord and my extra thoughts, or get lists I'm working on early, etc. So check that out if you're interested. But anyway, a conversation we were having in the Discord is that Simic Delver, just blue-green, or Simic anything, Simic Control I think was actually the conversation we were having. Blue and green are not known for their ability to answer permanents. Like just in the color pie, blue bounces and green recently gained the ability to fight or like bite, which is dealing damage equal to their power to other creatures. but green and blue don't really have removal in their colors. So other than these two Brazen Borrowers, anything that gets into play is going to stay there on our opponent's side. So the mana denial and the counter spells are going to be working hard in this game. So knowing that we can't really beat things that have resolved, or at least remove them once they've resolved, this Dreadnought and Uro, they're going to have to come in quick and attack fast. Like, we're going to have to plan for a game where we got to connect quickly with our big idiots, because we're not going to win a long game where the opponent gets to start developing what they're doing. So I guess Jace can technically bounce. So I have 3 bounce spells in the deck and the counter spells around them to clean up anything. So let's see if that is going to work structurally. Let's see if we are actually aggressive enough, powerful enough, proactive enough to get over the finish line where answering permanence isn't a huge problem for the deck. I'm actually interested in that. That conversation we had. Normally, blue and green are paired with white for Swords of Plowshares or black for Abrupt Decay. So just straight blue-green. There it is. In the sideboard, I'm really excited to play with Endurance. This is the first time I've gotten to play with this card since it's printing. Card Hoarder just released, or just got enough in stock that I can start borrowing Modern Horizons 2 cards. So thanks, Card Hoarder, for being quick with that. So Endurance, 1 GG, Flash, Reach, 3/4. Just, all right, let's ignore the rest of the words on the card for a second. That kills Delver. Flash, Reach, 3/4 for 3 mana. That's easy to play around Daze, jumps in, eats a Delver. Well played. But there is more text. When it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player puts all the cards from their graveyard on the bottom of their library in a random order. So this is graveyard hate. I mean, like, pretty clearly graveyard hate. It's also Doomsday hate, or Oops All Spells hate. If your opponent puts a Thassa's Oracle trigger on the stack, you can put their deck put their graveyard onto the bottom of their deck, and then the Oracle might not win anymore. So that's pretty sick. And then you could even like target yourself. Like if there's a surgical going after your Uro and you're going to need that, you could play Endurance, put your own graveyard on the bottom, fizzle their surgical. So we'll see where this comes up. And then finally, evoke, exile a green card from your hand. So you can play this for free by pitching a green card. We don't have a whole lot of green cards. There's 6, 7, 8, 9. There's only 9 green cards in the main deck, so I don't expect pitching it a whole lot, but it will be good if it comes up. So excited to play with that. And Urza Saga. We're going to sneak one of these in every deck for a while. This is just one of those cards. Making constructs could matter. Like, that could be a side option, but I don't think it's going to matter much. This is mostly a tutor for Phyrexian Dreadnought. And it can get the Pithing Needle or Soul Guide Lantern out of the sideboard, but mostly this is just tutor for Phyrexian Dreadnought after 2 turns. One super awkward thing to note with the constructs is those constructs are 0/0 creatures with an ability that gives them +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Dress Down at any point will wipe out any number of constructs. Hopefully that will end up paying off defensively more than it hurts us offensively, but that is an interaction to be aware of in the deck. So hopefully we could just kill like 5 constructs from an opponent with a single Dress Down at some point in this league. But hopefully we don't kill any of our own. All right, I think I've done a thorough job explaining the combos and non-bows in this deck. Let's go play some games. I'm on the play in round number 1. So this hand is perfectly serviceable, and I am going to keep it. The one thing that I'm worried about is it doesn't come out of the gates particularly fast, which, like I talked about in the Simic doesn't answer anything conversation. It's a little worrisome, but I do have a turn 1 Stifle, and hopefully I get to zap it. Please fetch, please fetch. Coward. We'll have to fetch eventually. Alright, so I'm not going to play the Coatl, or I guess I can play the Coatl. Now that I have blew up, it doesn't matter. Or I'm not going to play it until next turn when I can leave up Stifle too. I'm not going to tap out of this thing. Oh my god. This is how we do it. It's Friday night. I feel alright. Maybe they'll go for a Stifle, planning to fetch with the other one, and... Oh, yeah. They're starting to move. Oh my god. Sign me up for more of this. And I have days backup. Please force this. Alright, well, that's a Twitter screenshot. Put it in my veins. Okay, so they're a blue deck, is all we know. We saw Grixis fetch lands, which doesn't necessarily mean anything. They could be any like base blue deck. But I want the carpets. I feel like Veil of Summer is a safe bet. They will at least have blue cards. Do I want Flusterstorm? Probably do want Flusterstorm. I can at least upgrade one of my forces into a Fluster. Just one less 2-for-1 in the deck against a blue mirror. If I'm bringing all this stuff in, what comes out? They did see blue and green mana. They might assume Uro's in the deck, so I want to get a little skinnier against Graveyard Hate. I am just, like, spitting in the wind right now, also. On the draw, Daze is worse. So, this is what I'm doing, just in the dark, having seen 2 blue fetch lands and nothing else. I think this is a reasonable thing to do. Let's try it. In we go. Alright, I have a kind of a banger here. I have a turn 2 Dreadnought that can play around Daze. I would like to find some protection for it, like a Veil or a counterspell. But this is pretty good. Yeah, fetching on your main phase. Good call. Ooh, is this Grixis Shadow? Or just a budget deck? Ooh, Ragavan. Okay, that one can get me. Alright, I do like finding the basic. That means I don't have to... I'm not going to lose to Wasteland. I'm trying to think of what Dreadnought means in this situation. Like, do I just go for it? Oh, Uro. They can cast the front half of Uro if they want, then it'll die and end up in my graveyard. So that's mostly just Rampant Growth. Or Lotus Petal, not even Rampant Growth. So it's +1 mana, which matters in these aggressive shells. Is this Death Shadow or just someone on a budget? I'm gonna assume that it's Shadow. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Wow, they're putting Uro in my graveyard for me? That was nice. Unless they're a Stifle deck too. Then they get to keep it until I Brazen Borrow it and get it back. Well, thank you. Alright, glad I played around Wasteland. Alright, well, having 2 Stifles now, I get to play around Counterspell on my Stifle. I hope they do force that. Alright, cool. I just get a Dreadnought. Hope it's good. And I still have a Stifle in hand. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but if they bounce my Dreadnought, I can... Alright, they're just done. Nice Ragavan. $100 card, losing to Legacy Classic Phyrexian Dreadnought. On to the next round. I'm on the draw with a hand that I would be in love with on the play, but I am still going to keep it. I have the thing. The Dreadnought and the Stifle. It's everything you want, right? Oh god. We're playing against Oops All Spells. Well, Daze and Stifle both play against that deck, so I'm in. So, funny statistic. Our first round match took about 4.5 minutes to play, and my deck tech took about 8 minutes to record. I have never had a longer deck tech than round 1. Ever. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm gonna get this Hierarch in. I'll save my Ponder for... Like, there's certainly an argument to use Ponder to sculpt, try to find another piece of interaction, but they showed weakness last turn of just like no play go. So I'm gonna build up my resources, and yeah, so I survived that turn, which makes this much better situation for me. So now I have the choice of, I can just put my Dreadnought into play, just like Dreadnought, Stifle it, go. But I don't actually want to do that because the Stifle is one of my big pieces of protection here. So I think I'm gonna Brainstorm first. I could also just Uro. Yeah, I could just Uro and pass the turn with Stifle and Daze still up. If I Ponder before I Uro, that gives me an extra look at a land to hit off of the Uro, which is kind of interesting. Alright, I'm going to Ponder first, actually. I guess if I was going to Ponder first, I should have held my land drop, just in case I find like a fetch land or something that I'd want to shuffle the Ponder in between the Uro and playing it. Alright, I didn't find a land. I did find a second Stifle, though, and a Dress Down. Wow, Dress Down is messed up against this deck, too. I'm actually just going to keep this whole pile. I'm assuming they're oops all spells. Like, that is how I'm operating. And I'm off the Uro plan now. Now I'm on the Dress Down and Stifle and Daze plan. I have two ways to mess with a Thassa's Oracle. My hand doesn't have Force of Will in it, so even if they do have... Like, even if they do flashback this Cabal Therapy, I don't really care. Alright, so they can therapy me if they want to, but they're gonna miss. So I don't think this is where I put the Daze. Uh-oh, Thoughtseize. I think I can just put in Dress Down right now. And that protects me for the turn. Like, they're not going to be able to go off with Dress Down and play. This stops the Spy, it stops the Oracle. They might have to commit to a Force of Negation. Or not. Okay, yeah. They actually can't beat Dress Down. That's exciting. The little main deck hate for oops all spells that we didn't know we needed, but I'll certainly take. Okay, so Null Rod, Soul Guide Lantern are both in. Endurance, hey baby, you're coming in. Veil of Summer comes in, Collector Oof comes in. Pithing Needle can name Undercity Enforcer, but that does cut half the outs out of their deck. So maybe I do want it. There's no red cards in this deck, traditionally. Needle and Flusterstorm are on the maybes, but these are all... I'm going to make room for all these. So I need to cut 8. Could probably afford to cut 10. So this is a you win or you don't kind of matchup. So I think the Dreadnoughts can all take a break. Or I'll go down to 1 so I can actually win the game when I need to. Uro being a Simic card that can pitch to both Endurance and Force of Will is a huge deal. I don't think Jace is gonna be part of my plan here. Sylvan Library is also pretty slow, so I gotta be careful cutting green cards. I actually don't need all these Wastelands for the matchup, because they don't really play lands. And I still have 17 lands and the 2 Noble Hierarchs, so I can still play Magic like that. What else is not as good as I'd like it to be? Days on the Draw isn't as good. Maybe I just get rid of the other Sylvan Library. Though that my green count is getting dangerously low. I can afford to cut a blue spell more than a green spell at this point. Dress Down was insane. I'm not cutting that. Days on the Draw, I think, can take a break. So these come in. Maybe on the draw, having the Null Rods is a little bit hopeful. I'll switch one of them to Flusterstorm. On the play, I'll have both Null Rods in. I still have the Oof because it's also a green card. Alright, I think that makes sense. Well, I have this No-Lander that's full of hateful things. I don't think I'm going to keep this hand, even though I do think Endurance is really good. My deck has Force of Will in it. Like, I just don't want to get to the point where I, like, get to my turn, miss my land drop, and lose. But this Veil of Summer is a huge deal. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, I will keep this, even though I don't love it. Hopefully they show my blue deck with Force of Will a little bit of respect and don't just jam on turn 1, but their deck is built to jam on turn 1, so I could just die here. There's the Informer. Uh-oh. Alright, yeah, we're dead. Maybe I should have kept that Endurance hand. Who knows? Alright, so the Oracle is here. The Dread Return is here. There are enough Narcomoebas. Okay, yep. We're dead. Alright, yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to keep the Endurance hand. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20, but still, I don't know. I'm not sure what I would do in that same situation. Like if I had to play it all over again. Right, so Null Rod and Daze are both better on the play. Though I think that I've upgraded so many of my spells that Daze isn't even really necessary anymore. What am I cutting for Null Rod, if anything? Noble Hierarch is a little bit sus, but I am on this 17 land deck here, so probably don't want to cut it. I could just get all the way off Dreadnought, win with Brazen Borrower, Collector Oof, and Uro. Yeah, I'm just off Dreadnought. That's not part of the plan. Oh yeah, Endurance is also a 3/4 that can beat down. Yeah, there's plenty of win conditions still in this deck. What I like to play first with this Ponder hand... Yeah, I'll keep this. Uro being blue and green means that any Endurance or Force I find does have something to pitch. The bad news about this hand is that if I Ponder and Shuffle, it'll be a huge sign of weakness, and I don't think they really have the ability to sculpt much anyway. Found a Daze. Is that what I'm looking for? Like, Daze is, like, literally something, which is more than I have currently. Alright, I'll keep it. Unfortunately, Daze gets bricked by just a Spirit Guide. Like, either one. Any of the above, really. Xantid Swarm. Boo. So, that does bridge me into my Null Rod. Which, I mean, could pay off. The can't answer a permanent is a problem here. Yeah, I'm gonna play my Null Rod and hope that that does what I need it to. And if they can't combo next turn without their artifacts, then I can waste them and deny them a little more mana. And this is getting sketchy, and I'm not a fan of my position. Oh, they put that into play tapped. They're not planning on going off this turn. No attack with Xantid Swarm. They're being awfully honest with me, and I appreciate it. Alright, so I can Ponder looking for more answers, or I can Uro up this wasteland and waste them. And I think I want to do that because I am a monster. I want to advance my plan a bit here. So here's Uro. Uro will throw the wasteland into play. They couldn't go off last turn. Let's keep pinching their mana. And then I have lots of options to sculpt next turn if I get a next turn. Open for the best here. Though on 3 mana, I probably just should have been pondering for Dress Down. Oh no, they're attacking. They were honest last turn. I hope they're not just scaring me this turn. Or I hope they are just scaring me this turn. I'm definitely willing to believe the Wasteland might have been a little bit hopeful. Oh, they found black. That's what they were missing. Now they can Dark Ritual. Pass the turn, pass the turn. Oh my god, they passed the turn. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. So I think I want to... I think I gotta Ponder first. Because I'm basically looking for... Alright, I found Endurance, but that doesn't help me because the Xantid Swarm is still a beating. Can't cast spells this turn. Yeah, we're running hard into the whole Simic can't answer permanence thing. Like, if I could Brazen Borrow this, then that might be interesting. The Endurance is going to show up a turn late. I'm sure they would just attack with Xantid Swarm before they activate their Informer. Yeah, this is not good enough. So if I keep the Endurance, then Brainstorm, I'll see Prismatic Vista Island again, and the third card down would have to be Brazen Borrower for this to make any sense. Yeah, I have to shuffle this. So now I have to Brainstorm into land Brazen Borrower, and that's what I'm going to try to do. I I mean, Stifle is not the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh, I just realized I am 1 blue mana short. I could Stifle Xantid Swarm and then also Stifle Undercity Informer, but I can't Stifle both. Though I will start with Stifling Xantid Swarm and see where that gets me. See if that gives them a moment of pause. Now I can Force of Will this turn and Daze. I mean, Daze doesn't matter. They're gonna have all their mana available. God, I wish this was an island. I'd feel so good in that situation. Though they should know that once they flip their deck, they can win. Though if they're respecting endurance, then that might be different. Yeah, endurance would be a hell of a draw. Would it even though? I don't know. I don't think it would. Never mind, I take it all back. If they go for it here, they're gonna win because they're gonna be able to do the Cabal Therapy thing and then get their Oracle into play. Oh, Undercity Informer doing a cool thing here where it can sack the Xantid Swarm, so in case I have Stifle, they could, or I mean I do have Stifle, but in case I do something here, I guess that doesn't make any sense. Like, they could still just, do it next turn. Or there is no refiring the combo because your deck's in your graveyard. Oh, Endurance. I was just 1 short here. Or I guess leaving Undercity Informer beats Endurance because you can refire your combo. But you play Endurance in response to the Oracle, so yeah, I'm dead here. GG. Yeah, being unable to answer Xantid Swarm once it resolved was just the end of that game. I had so many cool tools and couldn't make it happen. Dress Down does turn off Xantid Swarm, by the way. So Dress Down extremely powerful against this matchup. That's good to know. But on to the next one. I'm on the play for round 3, and look at this hand. I can barely contain my joy. So I think that just playing basic Island throws the scent off of Stifle more than Misty Rainforest does. Like, if I'm on the other side, I'll fetch into basic Island Go significantly more often than Misty Rainforest Go. Alright, they're not fetching into anything. Just a white deck. Oh, hey. Okay, so I'm gonna get my Hierarch into play. I can save this Brainstorm for later. Do I want my basic? I'm just gonna lean into my Trop. There's a chance that it's Death and Taxes and they're a Wasteland deck. But I think being set up with my good mana colors is going to be pretty important. And I can Stifle a Wasteland if they have it. I guess what I'm worried about here is Thalia more than anything else. Okay, they're just some blue deck. I don't love the Swords to Plowshares, but we did just get through one of them. Here comes Dreadnought. I'm swinging. Stifle. Alright, it's in there. Did they get a squeaky clean little 2-for-1 with Swords to Plowshares? They untapped. So, I mean, Teferi is a beating, and because Teferi is specifically Teferi, Stifle can't stifle its activated ability. Oh, okay, they were just playing around. Soft permission. Also fair. Force of Will. Welcome to the party. Oh, Saga's nice. So is Jace. I'm gonna put one of these Stifles back. And probably... Oh, yeah, and Jace. Jace and Stifle go back. I can play Jace next turn. Alright, Saga. Begin the ticking. Tick, 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 tick. And I will stifle the shit out of this fetch land if they give me the opportunity. Yup. Count it. So I can jam Jace with Daze protection, with Daze or Force protection next turn. Then the turn after that, I can make a construct and tutor a Dreadnought, but I would need to find a Stifle or similar first. Whatever this is getting dazed. Not on my watch. Alright, Teferi's in the bin. We're drawing Jace. Can't protect it anymore, but it's cool. I do think playing Jace is better than just making constructs. Alright, finding the Stifle is completely insane here because I want to tutor up the Dreadnought with Saga. Pretty sure I put the land back on top. At least I hope I did. Well, that makes things harder. I mean, I'm still going to counter their Jace, but I think Dreadnought is the only artifact in the main deck to tutor. Yeah, so I'm going to make a construct on the way out here. Alright, so construct. And I will use... I'm going to fail to find. There's no reason to just yeet a Dreadnought into my graveyard. So, yeah, I'm just going to fail to find for the shuffle. Like, we knew that Dreadnought was on top of the deck. Okay, that's pretty good. Daze, I still want... Yeah, my plan at this point is pin them under Daze for a turn or two, while I just pull ahead with Jace. And this construct is ready to beat down. 18 turns, you're on notice, opponent. Cast another Jace. Cast another Jace. Ethereal Forager. Less excited about that. Jace can just bounce it, though. Like, this isn't a real threat. It's not going to do anything. So, get you out of here. Force Negation is the top card in my deck. I can decide if I want to draw that next turn, based on what they do. It's lucky I have Jason play, because this whale I would have basically no answers to otherwise. And they can replay it a number of times. It does only cost 6, and they have all kinds of mana over there. Maybe they'll get greedy and let me daze it. They were not greedy. Whales in play again. Next turn they will need to hit a land drop, or else they lose their whale to daze. Yeah, I think Force Negation is a fine draw here. Ship this whale again. Yeah, they'll have to play a spell or hit a land drop. They'd actually have to do both now that they're on their turn. But I just desperately want to hard cast Daze on this thing. Alright, I'm not going to get that. So now I'm going to have to brainstorm into Brazen Borrower or pivot onto some way to beat this whale. But currently it's just a 3/3. Like, it only picks up instants and sorceries out of the graveyard, so like Teferi and Flooded Strand, this is just a 3/3 flyer, which Brazen Borrower can just trade with. I don't even have to bounce it. Alright, yeah, just 3/3, no abilities. Instant or sorcery. Yep, that is what that does. Alright, let's find some gas here. Dreadnought. I think this Daze has outlived its usefulness, and so has this. Though Daze pitches to Force really cleanly, but so does the other Force. Yeah, I think I want to get rid of the extra land and the Daze. I can ponder here, looking for some action. Brazen Borrower, you don't say. Alright, I'm just going to have Brazen Borrower. I'm going to ambush this as just a 3/1 blocker in combat. And I will spew all of my resources to protect it, because this game is about Jace right now. They would need removal spell and counter spell in their hand. Alright, Brazen Borrower cast. I guess I could have Petty Thefted it. And that lets them cast Force of Negation, though. When this, they would need Force of Will to answer the Brazen Borrower half of it. Though, if I Petty Theft it, that takes them off of removal spell as an out for one turn. And they would have to replay it straight into Daze. But Daze is on top of my deck, not. So they would just get it in anyway. Alright. Oh, wow. That was good enough. I feel like there was more game to play there, but they're the expert. Okay, so Endurance I want here. It fights Whale in combat. It also pressures their graveyard in a meaningful way. Carpet is going to be good. They are a blue deck. Flusterstorm I like better than Force of Negation in this sort of matchup. It is awkward. I know I keep bringing this up, but it keeps being true. That normally I would want to pivot onto like a play to the board kind of game against a blue deck like this, but I can't actually play to the board. My deck just doesn't do that. So I do have to keep some critical mass of counterspells in the deck. Seeing Teferi and Plow makes me a little less interested in Phyrexian Dreadnought. Though Sylvan's Safekeeper can help mitigate that. Though if I'm on this endurance plan, I might not even need the Dreadnoughts or the Safekeepers. Okay, so I think that Stifle and Dreadnought can both get a little thinner here. And one less dress down because their deck doesn't have many creatures. I think I want to play this game. Wilt, they will have Sylvan Library in their deck for sure. So, is that a card I want? If so, what am I cutting? Can Uro win the game on its own if I go even thinner on Dreadnoughts? I think that's reasonable. Do I want Veil of Summer? It's pretty bad against Teferi. It's also bad against Swords to Plowshares. Alright, this is my deck. Alright, we have a Carpet of Flowers hand. That's a keep. Never not keeping flowers. And they're going to fetch on their turn to play around Stifle, which gives me the free carpet. So now I fetch basic forest. This is where they get me. Surprised they're a Stifle deck. Alright, didn't happen. So they probably should counter this if they can. Oh, they had Spell Pierce. That's so good. Do I think that carpet will do more work than these cantrips over the course of a game? Like if I force pitching Brazen Borrower right now, what happens to this game? I am going to go for this. And yeah, Brazen Borrower's out. Sorry, buddy. Please resolve. Okay, cool. Now I go to second main and I get to cast Ponder. I'm not sure if that was a good play, if that's really worth it, but I think that it will be. Stifle, second carpet. Alright, the second carpet makes me feel kind of silly for being so aggressive about the first one. But I think that's okay. So, Stifle and Wasteland work well together. Alright, I am going to keep this. Okay, so I get to play a second carpet next turn, play my Misty. I can brainstorm if I want to. Not sure if I'm going to want to or need to, but Stifle's in my hand now. Yes, make green mana for this carpet. Oh, chugga chugga. And I think that I want to hold my horses on the brainstorm. Though, no, I'm going to cast it. I have the shuffle. This wasteland doesn't look great right now. Let's clean this hand up. Alright, Sylvan Library makes me glad that I made that play. Put back these lands. Hopefully I won't need them this game. Like any of them at all. If this library resolves, we're in business. Oh, they have a lot of Spell Pierces. Well played. I guess I didn't expect a second Spell Pierce out of this deck. So, I guess, like, I could have played around that by just going to my turn and making a bunch of mana with Carpet. Now I know that for game 3. But, yeah, Spell Pierce is not a card that you see super often, and especially not in multiples. Ooh, Kaya's in. Not sure I can beat Kaya. She exiles Uro. She exiles Carpet. She exiles Phyrexian Dreadnought. This card was just built to beat me. Alright. I can stifle one of her activations, though. Where's a Saga? Does that do anything I need? So I could get the Wasteland and waste them, but the Kaya's already in play. I guess Saga does present a threat, like something that could reasonably attack Kaya. Alright. I'll keep it. It's Saga time. I'm not going to cast the Brainstorm. There's no reason to. So Kaya will probably eat the Carpet now. This is a good place to stifle, I think. Because I do want all this extra mana. Because this mana lets me crank out constructs while Kaya farts around. Alright. Now we're very much in the position of Simic can't answer anything. Baleful Strix. My whole plan is to attack them before they can really do anything to the board. And they've set up their mana. They have a Planeswalker. Strix will trade off with Dreadnought or Uro indiscriminately. So this is getting scary. But I do get to cast Brainstorm and activate Urza Saga just off the strength of Carpet of Flowers right now. And if they want to spend their Kaya to answer Carpet, that's a good deal to me. They did not shuffle their Ponder. Okay, so Carpet, make blue. Yes, blue. I can Brainstorm. There's a fetch land here. Okay, that's a lot of mana still left over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could try to get this Jace in. So tap. I can't make a construct and stick Jace, but Jace is the card that can win this game if I don't answer Kaya. So now the question is, would I rather shuffle away Wasteland or hit them with it? And I think I want to shuffle it away. Alright, here's Jace. If they force this, I probably lose. Alright, cool. That resolved. I'm gonna shuffle before I Brainstorm, because I know I don't want those cards. Stifle was not a bad one to find. Okay. So I'm gonna draw Ponder next turn, and then Saga will pop. Hopefully they spend the Kaya on Jace. Oh. They have their own Jace. That's bad. Or spend Kaya on Carpet. You can't spend Kaya on Jace. That's cheating. So Carpet's good for 4 mana at this point. Getting blown out by the 2 Spell Pierces has been rough. Also, committing to that fight over Carpet on turn 1 when I just drew a second immediately. That was also rough. I don't think we're winning this game, but this Jace, if anything can do it, it's Jace. Alright, cool. They spent their Kaya. Please don't have a counterspell. Oh no, they had a third Spell Pierce. Oh, Mystical Dispute. That's also gross. Okay, sure. Carpet's gone. It's Jace versus the world here. I didn't board in Soul Guide Lantern or Pithing Needle, so maybe I should just bring in Lantern as a rule. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting decision. So here's the Ponder. I think that this will be... Yeah, I think just having any creature in play is worth doing here. Yeah, I need to be able to like poke back at their Jace at least. Gonna fail to find again. Feels bad, man. Brainstorm with Jace. Put back. Obviously finding Dress Down right after I shuffled away a Dreadnought's not great. I don't need Dress Down right now. Gotta keep this Ponder. Keep velocity moving forward. Yeah, being hellbent in a deck that wants 2 things at all times is tough. Noble Hierarch was not a bad way to end that turn, though. Now Jace is under like kind of meaningful pressure from the construct, just attacking for 2 instead of 1. And a single Swords to Plowshares doesn't remove all the pressure from their Jace. Alright, so Jace has Brainstormed. Oh no, they fractured my Jace. I'm just gonna concede. I can't win the game now. They have Jace, Baleful Strix, they're all set up. We can go to the 3rd one, save everyone some time. So Kaya is absolutely horrifying. I think Pithing Needle in the deck, it can name Kaya, and it's a tutor that's not embarrassing off of the Saga. Do I even want 2 Dreadnoughts in the deck now that I know they have Kaya, Jace, Baleful Strix? And I do have to win the game somehow, so that's unfortunate. I wish I just didn't have to win the game and I could just and the game would just end with me as the victor, but that's not how Magic works. Do I cut down to 1 Dreadnought? I think I do. Like being forced to commit to these this 2-for-1 game where my counterspells have to answer everything makes committing to a 2-for-1 on Phyrexian Dreadnought really unappealing. So I think this is just going to be an Uro plan with like a small peek at Phyrexian Dreadnought as an option. Okay, so I have Hierarch Uro, and that's a pretty good start, especially if they keep a fistful of spell pierces. Like, this is a game I can play. Unfortunately, Dress Down is not Stifle, so I can't have a turn 2 Uro in play. But if the Uro trigger hits Stifle on that draw, then I suddenly present a turn 2 Uro. Yeah, I mean, this is the plan that I boarded into, so I'm glad I have it. Yeah, I think 2 dazes is probably the right number. I didn't reconsider them on the play versus draw, but I feel like that's probably where I would have landed anyway. Dress Down can stop a cantrip off of Baleful Strix. It can also remove Death Touch. So Dress Down is a way to punch through Baleful Strix. That's interesting. I do like that. Their Ponder did not shuffle. So I can... Yeah, Uro is just the play here. The alternative is Brainstorm, but I like developing with Uro. Let's get ahead right now. Put this thing in the graveyard, hit this extra land drop. I'm gonna hide the Wasteland. They don't need to know I have that yet. Sylvan Library is a banger in the matchup. Basic Swamp, Baleful Strix, sure. Got that Death Touch covered. I wish that Swamp wasn't basic though. Ooh, nice. Brainstorm is good now. Yeah, so starting to fuel the Uro is where I want to be. Daze is great. Don't need this trop. And I'm kind of interested in where the Dress Down takes me, but I think that shipping Wasteland makes more sense. I can cast Library off 2 basic forests. That's fun. And I can daze their Force of Will. Yeah. I can hardcast the daze. Is that important? No, because Wilt and Dress Down are both instants. Yeah, I'll just daze the old-fashioned way. Collect my 2-for-1 here. They pitched a Brainstorm. That hurts. Ooh, they had 2 forces. Jeez. Alright. A 4-for-2 in the matchup. I can live with that too. Puts a bunch of cards in the graveyard. So if I cycle Wilt and... If I fetch and cycle Wilt, that's enough to escape Uro. Please don't have Kaya right now. They pitched 2 Brainstorms to those 2 forces. That was expensive. But if they have Kaya right here, it's not going to matter. Oh, I'm worried. Fuck. Yeah, that hurts. Don't have Stifle for that. Youch. So I'm going to cycle Wilt here. Yeah, them having Kaya right there is going to be the game. That Uro was my chance. Cycling Wilt. Oh, look who showed up. Look who else showed up. Alright. I'm gonna attack Kaya and see if they offer the trade with Strix. See if I can get something off this Dress Down. And blocking with Strix seems pretty easy, but they could also just, like, not. Yeah, there it is. Okay. They decided not to, because Kaya's gonna kill this thing anyway. Figured I must have some sort of plan. I mean, Strix trading off the Dreadnought's just gonna be better anyway. So I can flash and Dress Down in their end step, and then it'll still be in play for my turn, which is a way that I can wiggle an Uro in, potentially. Alright, so in their end step... Oh, but then Hierarch doesn't tap for mana. But I think the cantrip is important here. I'm going to Dress Down in the end step. So this doesn't have Exalted, and it doesn't tap for mana on my turn. But I do need to move forward in my deck right now. And if I find a Dreadnought or a Ponder... Ooh, that was a good find. Carpet. That's good for 2 mana. So let's just move to second main and get that mana in the pool. Alright, so yes, make blue Ponder, let's go. Find a payoff. Force of Negation, Hierarch, another Ponder. Ponder sees 2 new cards when shuffling only sees 1, but it saves me a mana. Another Ponder. I think I have to shuffle this time because Uro costs 3. Shit, alright. Punished. The dress down didn't pay. The beginning of the end step. So that'll happen every end step. I can't stifle this. Too bad. So Kaya will eat carpet this turn, if they care. That was a pretty sweet... That was a dynamic turn cycle, at the very least. It didn't pay off, but it was pretty fun. Dress down does create some really interesting situations. Hopefully they'll just commit to some giant lethal Kaya Blast that I can stifle at some point. Okay, they are continuing to eat my graveyard and not mess with my Hierarch or carpet. I'll take that for now. Another stifle. You love to see it. I'm just gonna pass. I got nothing. Not even gonna bluff that I have spells to cast with this carpet. That's not the fight anymore. They have mana. These stifles are gonna have to target Planeswalker activations or Dreadnought triggers. 2 more cards gone from Kaya. So she can start like Nova blasting me. But I have lots of stifles for that. Yes, make green. Ha! I have infinite mana now. What you gonna do? So I can attack Kaya here. Yeah, I want to keep her on 5 if I can. And at this point, I don't even care if they trade their Strix for it. Yeah, if I can keep her from like Nova blasting me for free, that helps. Or at least, if they're gonna -5, I want her to be gone. That's what I meant by Nova blasting for free. I have 6 cards in exile, so she hits for 12 right now. Not quite lethal, yeah, there's no reason to pop that off. I honestly think they should be controlling my carpets a little more than they are. Like, my graveyard's gone. Nothing left to fight over there. Another Strix. I couldn't beat the first one. Have mercy on me. Kaya continues to attack my graveyard. It's now empty. You did it. I would love to find her as a Saga, though. That would be a good one right now. Tutoring up that Pithing Needle sounds pretty good. Alright. I'll use the first one for blue, and then I'm going to brainstorm before the second one resolves. I can decide if I'm going to use it and for what. Okay. I don't need the Misty because that I'm going to use my land's going to be Urza Saga for the turn, and I can ship the Stifle. All right, so yeah, we're just going all in on blue mana here. So I'm going to play the Saga, so it's worth mana. Here's Jace. I can easily hardcast Force. Brainstorm with Jace, or plus with Jace. I could plus myself. I think I want to brainstorm. Yeah, let's just keep these cards ahead. Put back these Misties, not going to need them. I can still hardcast Force of Will even if I attack with Hierarch. And now they're even less incentivized to trade because now they know they need to pressure a Jace. Okay. This game just got interesting. Maybe. Maybe it's still not interesting and I'm confused, but it looks interesting to me. So the 2 Strixes can attack Jace for 2 every turn, and Jace can plus to stay out of dead range. And I can just tread water like that while I sculpt up my hand and pull ahead with the carpets and the Saga. I'm hoping the Pithing Needle jumps into play off of this, really catches them off guard. Fracture. So I can force Pitching Daze to play around Spell Pierce here. I can force Pitching Stifle to play around Spell Pierce and Force of Negation. I think I like that. If they hardcast Force of Negation here, I can daze it. Okay. Jace gets to stick around for a minute. That was the only thing keeping this game interesting or competitive. So I'm glad that happened. Jace is going to take 2 here. Yep. And then I'm going to plus on myself with Jace. So I get 1,000,000 carpet triggers. That goes up. This happens. Yes, make blue. And decline the second one. For now, I'm going to fetch. Because I know my top card is another Misty right now, which I don't want. Then plus Jace, target myself. Fix these draws up a little bit. I do not want another Noble Hierarch. I guess I don't activate the Saga right now, because then Kaya could just exile the thing. Yeah, I'm going to attack Kaya here. They do have 12 cards in exile, so this might be the turn they go for the Kaya Blast, and if they can protect it with counterspells, they're going to win. So they've been on that plan for a while now. But if they don't do it now, they're never going to do it, because Pithing Needle's coming in next turn. Here come the Strix Beats. Continue to pressure Jace. I guess maybe, I don't know, like, am I trying to lead them into this Stifle or not? I really hope they just plus Kaya one more time. Just get a little greedy. Though, if they had a counterspell, I think they would have fought over the Fracture last turn, so I don't think they have one. But they have had a draw step since then. Exiling... Okay, that's fine. Alright, so in my end step, we're going to make a Construct. And then in my main phase, I'm going to make another Construct, and then tutor for... I can even use the carpet mana. This is so fun. Make blue and decline the second activation. Make a construct. Then I'm going to tutor the Needle and name Kaya. Pithing Needle on Kaya. Kaya Orzhov Usurper. That's the one I want. Alright, that's done. And then the Jace still has to keep plussing myself, at least for another turn. I don't want Wasteland, bottom that. Okay. I have 2 3/3s in play. Oh shit, that could have attacked Kaya? I'm such an idiot. I forgot that was in play already. Alright, I hope that doesn't matter. I missed 3 damage. We're only in a super tight game of back and forth blue magic. I don't need every little edge. White mana. I don't think I need Prismatic Ending, exiling Pithing Needle. Kaya is pretty good here. Though, boy, I wish I attacked her for 3. I'm such a jackass. Yeah, this is a good place to force. Oh, but I have been playing around... Okay, whatever. Prismatic Ending worked. I can stifle a Kaya trigger, and then they'll have to decide if they want to come after Jace with their Strixes or not. And if I get a turn where I get to start brainstorming because they didn't attack with all their Strixes, that's good for me. Stifle that. Now if they attack with either Strix... Kaya should have been a 1 this turn. I was like, I have Pithing Needle. It's not going to matter, but everything matters. So now if they decide... Or the Needle's gone, so these constructs aren't lethal on Kaya anymore. Another one. This card's really good. I haven't gotten to play with it yet, but I am excited about it. They have 2 cards left over there. I just have a spider sense that one of them is Spell Pierce. And that Spell Pierce has just been rotting for the whole game. So if they attack with 1 Strix, then I can brainstorm. Alright, cool. They left back a Strix to protect Kaya, but that gives me a brainstorm. And if they block... Alright, so I'm not going to use my carpets. I don't know what I need the mana for yet. Time to brainstorm. I don't think... Right, yeah, I'm just going to put back the lands. And I'm going to attack Kaya. With both. Attack Kaya, attack Kaya. So they can let Kaya die and kill my Jace if they want to play that game. Okay, they decided they did want to play that game. So now I can see one extra card with Brainstorm. So, yes. Make blue, Brainstorm. Yes! That has to be like the best card I could have drawn. Not even close. And yes, I'm just going to cast it now because I think that ambushing them compared to making sure I get to shuffle away that dead draw, like, cards matter more right now than anything else. I don't want to draw a Prismatic Vista if I don't have to. Here come the attacks. Jace lives another turn. My Construct's still crunching. I have Stifle. Shuffle this. Don't want it. Jace gets to do stuff again. Decline the carpets. Don't know what I need yet. I'm going to attack them with my Constructs before Jace does anything. If this attack works, I can start plussing them. Because that means they don't have an answer to Jace or my Constructs. So might as well make blue here. It's free. I'm going to start plussing them. No, you can have Flooded Strand. Okay, race is on. I have Force and Stifle up. Jace is ahead. I am behind on clock, which is a huge problem. But Jace can Brainstorm next turn because I'll be 2 turns ahead of Baleful Strix, and I think that winning with Constructs makes more sense than trying to ultimate them with Jace. Ooh. I drew Uro. I should probably be making mana. So, Brainstorm with Jace. Put these 2 back. Waste one of your whites. Green. This will get another Wasteland into play. I'm going to waste them 3 times this turn. That's pretty hot. Yeah, so just firing off Wastelands like a maniac here. Green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, 3rd Wasteland coming. Fire it off. Still holding up Force of Will, and now I have Uro. Attack for 4. This was a great game. I'm pretty sure this is only game 2, and I have 4 minutes on my clock to win a game 3 with. I'll try to... If they're smart, I think they'll just F6 through their turn. Because I'm behind on clock and they're up a game. Like, I'm pretty significantly behind on clock. So we'll see what happens. Alright, they conceded. Oh, wow, that was the match? I forgot I won a game in between. Did that happen? Alright, I really thought that that was only game 2. I lost track. It was such an exciting game. That was pretty awesome. Just pivoting completely off of Dreadnought into that Uro game. I thought for sure we were dead to those Baleful Strixes, but they didn't... I don't think they used their Kaya the best that they could have. They kept attacking my graveyard when she could have been removing my carpets. And that was just... Generally, they ended up getting buried by the carpets because I could just do everything I drew every turn. So, wow, that was an exciting game we got away with. On to round number 4. I'm on the draw in round number 4. I have a hand with Dress Down Dreadnought. Days back up. Let's go. I could even... Oh, let's see how this lines up. So, if I play Saga on 1... Oh, looks like it's not going to matter because we're getting comboed. Thoughtseize. Do they take Days or Dress Down? What kind of deck are we playing against here? So, what I was saying before I got Thoughtseized is... If I Saga on 1, then on turn 3, I can flash in Dress Down, tutor a Dreadnought, play the other one. Alright, forget the Days. Like... They had Thoughtseize and they decided to leave me with Days. That means they can beat it, so I'm gonna hope that they can't do anything. Oh, this is not Reanimator. Huh. Okay, that's fine. I can play this game too. That was just a regular old getting your land wasted thing. It feels a little worse because it's Urza Saga, but it was gonna die anyway, sucker. Oh, are we playing against Jund? Trusty old Jund? What year is it? So they could Liliana of the Veil me next turn. I think getting Library in is going to be more important than other things. Jund is a deck built on Abrupt Decay, so there's a good chance my library doesn't survive. Just gotta hope they don't also have the second Wasteland. Yep, there's the Decay. I am shocked. I picked up a Brainstorm since the last time they saw my hand. They know about the days, so they can't just jam Liliana into play right now. Another Dress Down. It's Brainstorm. Alright, Land Stifle is good. So I could Stifle a Cascade trigger. I could hide one of these Dreadnoughts. Hide Dreadnought and Dress Down. Or I could just go for a Dreadnought this turn. They have to have another Decay for it. And then I can Dress Down Dreadnought next turn. So what does that look like? What does that Brainstorm look like? I put down back one of the Dress Downs and I guess the Ponder. If I'm just moving in on this Dreadnought plan. Yeah, alright. Let's try that. So I'm gonna get Snow-Covered Forest here. Dreadnought. Stifle. So they need a Decay here. They're tapping mana. Oh, they could have Fatal Push. That's also just a removal spell that works. Okay, fine. Fine! So I get to Dress Down and go again next turn. If they do jam Bloodbraid Elf this turn, I can daze either the Elf or the Payoff. It's pretty nice that Dress Down cantrips. Guess they can also Abrupt Decay Dress Down in response to Dreadnought. That does counter the combo. Alright, it's in there. Opponent complimented sweet deck. Thank you. Thank you. You hear that, Puchipo? They like your deck. Alright, they found the fourth land. Could be Bloodbraid Elf time. Or they could just be casting Liliana around the days they know about. So I can daze the Elf or the card they hit off Elf as needed. I'm gonna daze the Bloodbraid Elf. I'm not super worried about Ignoble Hierarch in the grand scheme of things. Alright, the clock is on. So, Wasteland, take out their second black source. I mean, they have the Hierarch, but I can Dress Down in the upkeep, and then they don't have that mana anymore. And that can keep up the mana denial pressure. Yeah, so I'm just going to upkeep Dress Down. Alright, here we go. Alright, so they can't cast Liliana of the Veil with the mana they have. Let's see if that trick worked. Alright, they're passing the turn. Attack with your 0/1, no Exalted. The sad day in Ignoble Hierarch land. Wow, that was cool. We got 2 for 1 by a Fatal Push and just rammed right through. Beat a Bloodbraid Elf, beat a Wasteland on our first land on the draw. That was powerful stuff. Turns out 12/12s are big. Alright, so against Jund, Veil of Summer is just the cat's meow. Pithing Needle can hit Liliana. I feel like I want the Endurances just as a pivot. Like, this deck built on Abrupt Decay, I'm not super excited about moving in on a Dreadnought for it. But I do want to leave some number in, because it is just huge if the coast is clear. So Force of Negation's pretty bad here. I don't like Daze on the draw, especially against the Ignoble Hierarch deck. Like, they're going to jump ahead on mana. And I don't really like Force of Will, but again, we're in that position where I need it because it's my only interaction. Stifle can hit fetch lands, Liliana activations, Cascade triggers. So that's pretty good, even without the full boat of Dreadnoughts. Dress Down as Rishadan Port might be my favorite moment of this league so far. I actually think Jace is really bad. They're going to have Red Blasts and also just Bloodbraid Elf. Even in Standard, when they coexisted, Bloodbraid Elf was a good answer to Jace. Just pressured it in a really hateful kind of way. And Red Elemental Blast, or Blue Elemental Blast can counter the Red Elemental Blast. But does that matter? Is that something I want to play too? Alright, here's these cards. Sylvan Safekeeper. If I was going to bring in Safekeeper, I would have to cut all of the... Or I'd have to leave all the Dreadnoughts in. I like Wilt. They could have Choke. They could have Sylvan Library. Alright, I'm going to have to move in with this deck. I'm just out of time for sideboarding. But I think this is in a pretty good spot. Alright, on the draw with... I have the Noble Hierarch, Veil of Summer. I can keep this. Fistful of Cantrips. The Uros. Uro is the best card historically against what Jund is trying to do. So this Thoughtseize, I think, basically has to take Veil of Summer. Because Veil is going to blow them out at some point. If they don't take it now. Oh wow. They respectfully disagree. Fair enough. I'm going to ponder here. Oh, I shouldn't have pondered. I should have just left my fetch land up and passed the turn, because now I'm open to him to Turok. I'm going to shuffle this, just looking for land drops right now. I have enough cantrips that I don't have to super worry about not finding the land right away. If they him me, hopefully they just hit the 2 Uros. All right, Robert, Confidant. I'm going to brainstorm first, swing for the fences. Ponder is safer, but I like the brainstorm better. Right, this Dreadnought is a long way off. And do I need 2 Uros? Probably not. I would hate for the first one to get, or the second one to get clipped by a surgical extraction on the first one. So I'm just going to hold my horses there. I'm also going to hold up Veil of Summer for basically the rest of the game. I'm not in a hurry to ponder. Bob beats. Bob has done half as much damage to me as it has to its controller at this point. Tarmogoyf is big. I'm gonna fetch in the end step. I have this Trop. So Choke is worrisome. I'm gonna have to play into Wasteland eventually anyway, but I am a little worried about Choke. So I'll get a Forest. So I can Uro and drop this Tropical Island. Yeah, makes sense. Gotta pull ahead here. Uro's the kind of card that can beat this deck. Just by itself, if it has to. Hanging out the Tropical Island, I don't love, but is what it is. It's got to fade Graveyard Hate for a turn. Right, him to Turok. They know that's not going to work. Yikes. Well, there's the Wasteland. I'm going to have to Veil just to protect myself from him. I don't get to draw a card here, but it does buy me a turn. And time to top deck a green source. Let's get this Uro into play. Alright, so they briefly tapped a swamp and then changed their mind. So I don't know what that was about. Green source. Suppose I should have been more specific. Alright, let's ponder. Force of Will, Brainstorm. I don't want any of this shit. I have all the shit. I need a green land. Ooh, I can make Tarmogoyf a 0/1 for a turn. Oh, is there a world where I can kill it if I do that? Interesting. I can't stop the Bob trigger. Oh, come on with the Scavenging Ooze. What a nightmare. I hope they him to Turok me, though. So now I am just basically all in on Dreadnought. Oh, I guess I could have flashed and dressed down in response to the use, but no, they would have just untapped and got me there. Alright, never mind. That doesn't make any sense. Ouch. They're coming at me right now. I'm getting Junded. Thoroughly Junded. So this will at least save a bunch of damage from Tarmogoyf. Draws a card on the way through. Yeah, not being able to play around Wasteland was this entire game. Like, we could have this exact same position, except Uro's in play. And the biggest thing. Oh, I guess... Ooh. Oh, no, this creates a trigger? Does that work? I don't even know. I'm trying to figure out if I evoke Endurance, does it still sacrifice? If there's Dress Down in play? Okay, so I do actually somehow like the Wasteland. I like the Uro eventually. Put back... Or I'm going to use the Stifle to cast the Uro, so I can put back the Endurances. So do I waste them? Or do I hold up Dress Down and Veil of Summer? I think I want to Veil them. Alright, so that is the land they need for Bloodbraid Elf. But if they Bloodbraid Elf, I take 3, 4, 5, I take 8. And there's currently no targets for removal, so hopefully they'll just hit Abrupt Decay. Alright, Ignoble Hierarch I don't super care about. Oh, the Dress Down means that Bloodbraid loses haste as well. So that's actually even less for them to operate on. I don't need to hold up Veil of Summer anymore. They've done everything they're going to do. So, yeah, let's just dress this team down. So that takes Tarmogoyf and Bloodbraid Elf out of combat. And then I can Uro and Stifle its trigger next turn. They do have 5 cards in hand, though. And my top card is Endurance. If my next card under Endurance is a green source, I can protect my Uro with Veil of Summer, and then we're playing the game. If it's not, we're in trouble. Should have been more specific. Not a green source, per se. Got a lot of Endurances here. And they are at 10 from their own Bob. Maybe they'll just die. Flip Blightsteel Colossus. What do you think the chances are that none of their 7 cards in hand are a removal spell in Jund? 100%? So here's the Hymn to Turok. They took Hierarch and Endurance. Those were the best cards I could hope for, honestly. So they're fetching their Catacombs to play something. This mana does cast Abrupt Decay. Oh, Dark Confidant is not Abrupt Decay. Not even close. Am I going to have Uro in play for a turn? Oh. Can I blow them out with Endurance right now? Pretty sure I can. So they have Land, Thoughtseize, Verdant Catacombs. Yeah. I'm going to take what I can get. Block, and then I'm going to evoke Endurance, targeting myself. Oh, this is exciting. This is the first time I've ever put Endurance on the stack, and I'm here for it. Unfortunately, I have a ton of mana open. Like, they could still just Abrupt Decay Uro before this happens, or... Okay. They're just gaining some life with Ooze. I'll take that. So... I have Urza's Saga. That's what's making Tarmogoyf actually freaking huge. And I want the Endurance trigger, or the Evoke trigger, to resolve first, because I want the Endurance gone from my graveyard. So Ooze can't eat it. Yeah, eat that 3/4 Goyf. Feed it to me. Force of Will is not helpful at this stage of the game. If I attack, I go to 12. I take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I take 13. But if they don't block with Bob, they're in danger to dying to their Bobs. Alright, I feel like they should block. And if I draw Brazen Borrower, I just get to win the race easily. Dress Down? Does that do anything? Oh wait, they still win if they block with Bob. Okay, never mind. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I'm still dead. I guess I could Dress Down and hit a payoff right now. Like if I draw Dreadnought. Okay, I didn't draw Dreadnought. Alright, I guess I'm dead. That was exciting though. It's a good run. Maybe they'll miss Lethal. That would be great. They revealed Fatal Push to Bob, so they can fetch Fatal Push, and now I'm dead anyway. Alright. Cool game. So I think on the play, maybe I do just want to move in on this Sylvan Safekeeper Dreadnought thing. Like if I just completely pivot and protect my Dreadnought, I'm not sure that I can beat them in a long game. Like between the Bobs and the Ooze and everything. So if I do a turbo game. Pithing Needle's not part of that plan. The Safekeeper and the Veils protect Dreadnought. Uro does seem pretty important. I think it's safe to say against the Wasteland discard deck, Uro is good. I guess the problem is I don't know what to cut here. I could just go 0 days because the spell I care about is uncounterable. So I have all 4 Dreadnoughts, all 8 Enablers, and every protection spell, except for counter spells because those don't counter what I need them to. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna try this turbo version, I think. Let's do it. This is a 0 lander. This only works if my Hierarch survives. I'm gonna keep it. They'll probably want to Thoughtseize or play their own Hierarch on turn 1. I'm just dreading a Fatal Push. I probably lose the game to Fatal Push. Alright. Our Gambit paid off. Veil of Summer. I'm going to Ponder. Wasteland. So I'm going to go for the Wasteland. Get out of here. I have Veil, and then I'm drawing Basic Island next turn. So if they go for a discard spell or a removal spell here, I have a blowout. Hopefully they just put Hymn to Tarok on the stack. Yes. I love it when a plan comes together. So there's Stifle. I can Ponder trying to find Phyrexian Dreadnought right now. Uro is interesting. I can potentially Uro next turn. So I definitely want Uro in my hand. And I can just hold up Stifle for the turn. I don't know if this is going to be good, but it has some Hymn to Tarok insurance as well. Liliana of the Veil. So if she minuses, I'm going to Stifle that. Stifle this, and then Hierarch can kill Liliana if it wants to, depending on what my draw looks like. So I can Brainstorm looking for the land for... Looking for land. I could just leave up Stifle for another turn. I'm here to Brainstorm. Okay, not bad. I think I want to put back Wilt and Brainstorm. The Stifle just seems pretty good here. I can attack Liliana. Yeah, that's good. I could have left her in play for a turn, let her discard my Uro for me. I think I might have messed up that turn. Like, my brain halfway was playing like Liliana's already gone, and the other half was playing like... Oh shit. Please hit Uro! Yes, Uro's in the bin. Okay, so I can play Uro next turn. Alright, I can Stifle Scavenging Ooze if they have a mana source, but I don't think they do. My top card is Brainstorm. That's genuinely accepted to be a pretty good card. Though, if I'm swinging for the fences here, I would shuffle the Brainstorm, try to hit land or Veil, and draw the other one off of the Uro. No, Brainstorm's pretty good. I'm in. Alright, so they didn't Surgical in response. Grab my island. Green, green, blue, blue. And then try to manage Tarmogoyf here. They have land, Planeswalker, sorcery. Can I get rid of all my instants? Veil, Stifle, Brainstorm, Wasteland, Ponder. Yeah, sure. I can get rid of all my instants, at least temporarily. Oh, they didn't have a creature, and I did. But there will be creatures in the bin. Okay, Uro's in play. If they can destroy it and then eat it, I'm way behind. Certainly looks like an Abrupt Decay, sure. But again, that's one less decay in the deck. Maybe that matters, maybe it doesn't. I am on the Turbo Dreadnought version. They have 1 card left over there. I'm going to take a Crunch for 5, but Uro's already gained 6. Draw. Oh no, it only... I never cast it on the front half, it only came in the side. Oh hey. Time to re-Uro with the Stifle. I like that. The Pokimoki deck's coming together. Oh no, you do not have Red Blast. Probably should have stifled that fetch land. Oh no, they literally don't have Red Blast. They just didn't want to fetch. That makes sense. Or they didn't want... I don't know what I'm trying to say, but whatever it is. They didn't want me to have priority where they couldn't activate Ooze, is what I'm trying to spit out. Alright, so there are no creatures left in graveyards. Yeah, they're just eating spells now. The Stifle Uro strat is not bad here. 2 cards in their hand. Oh no, they did have the Red Blast. So I can brainstorm looking for Force of Will right now. I guess that's the plan. Kind of a Hail Mary, but get paid. Woo. Play to your outs. Oh, they're hellbent against an Uro. Alright, yeah, now they're just chewing up my graveyard. Getting ahead of something or other. But Uro can attack. My thing is bigger. I have... Yeah, my thing is bigger. Attack for 7 with Uro. Start to pull ahead here. I get the Sylvan Library. So now if they do draw Abrupt Decay, they're going to be split between Uro and Sylvan Library to actually remove, which is not an enviable position. Yeah, this is nice. Uro is pretty good against Jund, turns out. Fetching in the end step, probably thinning out draws here. I don't expect them to have the... I don't even know what the black card is in Mystic Sanctuary Cycle. Some sort of cottage. Which cottage? Or is that the green one? I don't know. There's no creatures in the graveyard anyway. I'm pretty sure the black one is a Raised Dead. Right, yeah, they're just chewing up graveyards. Making sure if they can kill this Uro, it doesn't come back. Or that the next one doesn't arrive all at once. Oh no, red mana. Rip the Pyroblast. Okay, that's fine. That Uro got a lot more than I expected it would. I have the Sylvan Library. Let's keep it going. I am behind right now, but Sylvan Library does a lot of work. I'm just going to take 6. Stifle, show me the Dreadnought. Dress down Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrowing Scavenging Ooze is pretty nice. I don't think I'm going to need a Stifle. I will keep the Dress down. They're at 14. I think I can attack. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can attack. I have enough mana to bounce Scavenging Ooze and redeploy Brazen Borrower. I think I should just upkeep. I don't want to lose to a Red Blast or Veil of Summer. So I'm just going to bounce the Ooze on the upkeep. Basically the same as any other time. Except I don't get blown out by random shit. This lets them attack with their Hierarch. I guess that's the one thing I could have saved 1 point of Hierarch beats. Scavenging Ooze. I don't need to dress it down. There's nothing to eat. Okay. Alright, so they can attack for 2 here with their Ignoble Hierarch. That actually does matter. That's another card I can't keep off Sylvan Library. I think I do want to see 3 fresh... Oh, I'm going to cast Brazen Borrower, so this isn't even about a shuffle for 3 fresh cards. This is just about playing my spells. There should be a basic forest left. There it is. Brazen Borrower. And now I have 3 fresh looks at Phyrexian Dreadnought. All 4 of them are still in the deck. This has been a great match. No matter what happens here, we're having a good time. Do have to watch out that my Dress Down takes Flying and Exalted off of my creatures. So that's worth noting. Yes. Alright, I'm not going to pay any extra life for these things. Put on top. Put on... Oh, I wish I could undo that. Maybe. So, one thing to consider is that Dress Down makes it so Brazen Borrower can block non-flyers, but with the 2 Exalteds, that doesn't matter. Alright, I'm just going to attack for 4. Hope that they brick. Probably chump with Noble Hierarch. And then hope that I draw a Dreadnought next turn. with my 3 fresh looks. Though I do wish that I had stacked my my library different. If I had kept the second if I had put dress down second, like on top, under the prismatic vista, I could dress down their creatures on their turn, which turns off Exalted and denies them 2 mana. And then I would still have dress down, and I can fetch and shuffle and still see all the same cards. So that was slightly not done well. Slightly suboptimal. So I'm going to block. I'm not going to leave myself dead to Lightning Bolt. That's not what this game's about. That is food for the Hierarch, or for the Ooze. I'm actually out of basics. I'm pretty sure there's only 3 islands in the deck. Yeah, I'm actually out of basics. So this is just a fresh look shuffle. But that is pretty good to me. Dress down. Okay, so I get to make that same play I made last turn. So put on top, play my Vista. This time the dress down is going to do the thing I described, where it will remove Exalted and the ability to tap for mana, and it'll let my Brazen Borrower block Scavenging Ooze. So I'm just going to upkeep this thing. If they blast it, I lose. Okay, cool. So they can't tap for mana. They don't get Exalted. This is actually a trade if they attack. Oh, please attack, please attack. Don't see it, don't see it. Oh my god. Yes! Blocking Scavenging Ooze with Brazen Borrower like you read about. Okay, I'm gonna take another fresh look shuffle because Dreadnought is the plan here. Their hand has to be a land. They would have cast a removal spell, they would have cast a creature. Oh, please give me the Dreadnought. Oh my god. Top, even have the Veil here. Dress down. Dreadnought. Even have the Veil of Summer to back it up. Let's go. Please cast Abrupt Decay. Oh, Tarmogoyf, that one's actually good. Shit. So, if I attack... oh, they do have to block with Tarmogoyf, because the Hierarchs aren't big enough to absorb all this damage. Top. Alright, so you gotta block with Goyf. Coatl's another great draw. It's a big insurance policy here. Take your trample damage. And I can Coatl into Stifle. Like, if they draw Bloodbraid Elf, I can stifle the Cascade trigger. If they draw Liliana, Veil covers that. I'm going to block the Hierarch with Coatl because I don't want to be in Bolt range. Bolt is how I can lose this game. My opponent gave the GGs in the chat. We did it. Dressed down. Just danced all around what was going on in this match. That was freaking sweet. We're on to the final round. We're about to play for 4-1. I'm on the draw for round number 5. I'm sorry that my opponent's turn is already in progress. I thought I was on the play and didn't start recording, but apparently I'm on the draw. This hand is still good, though. We're playing against another Ignoble Hierarch deck. Yeah, I have the possible turn 3 Uro if I find a land. Okay, yeah, this hand would have been way better on the play. Like, stifle the fetch land, you're dead. I don't want to wasteland someone who already has a mana creature in play. Like, that just sets me behind on resources without really affecting them. Though, it is interesting that Tropical Island cast this card, unless they're just on, like, the full 8 copies of this. Or maybe it's, I guess, Bug. Like, this gives you black mana where you wouldn't get it otherwise. Okay, I mean, that's reasonable to believe. So, address down here. I could just fetch Basic Forest right now and dress them down in their upkeep. Try to deny them a little mana. I don't actually know if... I'm pretty sure Delver will still flip. Wait, let's look at this card. Yeah, I mean, if they have an instant or sorcery, Delver still flips because I can't get in under its trigger. But I do think just doing something cantrippy and interactive in their upkeep is pretty interesting. Like, I'll take the Rishadan port and denying the Exalted if nothing else. Like, that's good for me. Though I do get to put them in this fun position where if they don't know how this works, they might not reveal on purpose. Alright, so I don't know if they actually missed on Delver, if they just chose not to reveal because they thought it wouldn't work. But either way, that was a pretty good turn. So I can Uro Stifle next turn, or I can Uro Wasteland next turn. It's like getting my Stifle dazed is kind of lame, but I'm also not really... The Wasteland's not really going anywhere. Alright, I think I want to Uro Stifle. Or, now do I want to Uro Waste? Alright, let's see if they have their own Stifles. Please don't. Okay, they didn't stifle me. I want to get basic island. Alright, so I'm gonna Uro. I'm gonna put in the Wasteland. If I hit... Oh, I was about to say if I hit a land, maybe I'll go for the Stifle after all. And I do have a Force of Will. And Uro's really good. Alright, whatever, let's play the Stifle game. And even if they win the fight over Stifle, that's a 1-for-1 trade. And it puts the Stifle in the bin for Uro to eat next turn. Ooh, forced. They forced that. They don't like that at all. Yeah, if they're that worried about that, I'm going to fight over it too. Nice. And even if they answer Uro this turn, I can just dress down Dreadnought next turn. Expressive Iterations in play. Or in their hand. Okay, this Hierarch taps for red. That's what Noble Hierarch doesn't do. So this could just be like... So this is Rug Delver, but this taps for red instead of blue. Because they figure they have enough blue sources. Definitely interesting deck building choice there, one way or the other. Alright, so that's the Brainstorm from Exile. Just trying to get ahead on cards here. But I'm going to dress down Dreadnought, waste you next turn. That's my plan. While crunching with Uro. So they've got some work to do, but they do have a lot of cards in their hand. Taiga's in play. I hope they don't main deck Pyroblast. I don't think Legacy is quite there yet. Exalted Trigger on a Delver. That's something I've not seen for a long time. Brazen Borrower. Not bad. Get my Uro attack in first. Figure out what my turn's going to look like. Chuck this Wasteland into play. I don't think wasting... Might as well waste in combat. Or no, because I don't want to go after their Taiga because I don't think I care that much about it. So I'm going to dress down and then Dreadnought. Alright, so there's dress down. Oh my god. Feed it. Feed it to me. Alright. Here we are. I'll just do all this with force backup. Stifle can't do that. Okay, I mean, that was certainly something. Flusterstorm against Delver. Force of Negation's not what I want. Veil of Summer probably will be pretty good at getting my things into play. Endurance is a nice pivot. Fights the Delvers. Carpet of Flowers is great. Blue Blast, they are blue-red Delver. So, put these cards over here. Force of Negation's out. Do I have 9 cards to cut? Jace is not good. I don't trust Daze on the draw, especially against the Noble Hierarch deck. Force of Will is pretty bad too. And I think I do just want to be on the Turbo Dreadnought plan. Just be bigger and better than them. And win the game quickly. Brazen Borrower, one of my few points of interaction with an opponent. The Coatl I'm not cutting. I need to cut one more card, and I guess Dreadnought is the worst of them. Yeah, I like where this is. That'll do. I could bring in the Soul Guide Lantern just as something to find with Saga, but I'm not gonna board like a weird value engine. Like, that's like Plan X. Like, I probably don't even want Saga against the fast deck with Wasteland, and Plan A is to just get Dreadnought with Saga, so yeah, I'm not in a hurry to bring in a random card. Just planning for the actual worst. I'm going to keep, speaking of Urza Saga, planning around the one of. I have it in my hand. Opponent's got the Tropical Island. Is it a Hierarch? Oh, they started to tap green mana first and then switched to blue. Alright, so I mean, the Uro Stifle play is certainly on the table here. I think I just want to get a basic island into play right now while they can't stifle me. I have other ways to get the basic forest. Delver flipped immediately. We're in trouble. Uro's going to have to gain life to mitigate this. Being under the gun like this, just the 2 borrowers and Coatl to contest it. Tough spot. Have their land drop. Ooh, do they have a 2-drop creature? And I'm not trying to stifle their fetch lands. That's not really my role in the matchup. They already have Delver beating down. I need to get this Uro into play and clap with it. Tarmogoyf. That's a big one. Oh, not yet. It isn't. I guess. Dreadnought. Okay. So, plans are shaping up here. Dressdown does put an enchantment in the graveyard for Tarmogoyf. Not super stoked about that. But I can make Dreadnought with Veil of Summer back up next turn. And that doesn't seem like the worst play. And I can pivot to the Uro if I still need it second main. Or not second main, but like the reload. So if I go Urza Saga, or Veil of Summer, Urza Saga, Dreadnought Stifle, then I have the Dress Down in play and Saga's ticking. It'll eventually find another hit or another Dreadnought to go with this Dress Down. I mostly just have to worry about, or maybe I save the Veil of Summer. So there's like payoff versus like risk versus reward here. Like playing into Daze doesn't feel good, but beating Force of Will feels great. Or like 2 for winning off Force of Will, if they even have it. Alright, so I'm not gonna Veil first. I'm gonna play like a small child and just stifle and lose the Daze if they have it. But they do only have 3 cards in hand, so yeah, that felt pretty reasonable. The plus side of this is it plays around something like Brazen Borrower. Like as far as things that can remove Dreadnought, I get to fight over a Brazen Borrower. And now it's Delver versus Tarmogoyf, and Uro's going to gain some life next turn to offset these Delver beats. And Dreadnought does put them in a pretty serious position of how much life can they really afford to spend, because I'm sure their plan was to just pay 8 on an empty board, but now I have Dreadnought to their nothing. And I can make a construct just to chump next turn if I feel like Tarmogoyf's becoming a problem. But I don't think that it is. Oh, do they have Abrupt Decay in their deck? They just the full 4-color Delver off the Hierarch? It's pretty cool if they are. Uh-oh. They got their own Uro's team. Let's hope they don't have their own Stifles too. Okay. Crisis averted. Oh, they get to attack for 4 with Delver. Yeah, this is pretty cool. They're doing lots of cool stuff over there. I don't care for it. Be less cool, please. Alright, so that ticks up. If I attack, I take, or I should make sure Uro resolves first. Alright, so boom, boom, boom. Do I pay for Daze or do I cast Veil of Summer? They must have 2 Dazes. That's the only thing that makes any sense here. Yes, I'll pay the 1 for Daze. Yeah, okay. 2 Veil of Summer wouldn't have beat that either. So now if I attack, I lose. So I just have to hold back and hope they don't have Lightning Bolt for a turn. Yeah, that was a really good turn. Delver, turn 1 Delver flipped on the play. This same game without this card, or even if it happened on turn 2, I'm miles ahead, but right now I'm just like dead to Lightning Bolt. So, scary stuff. So I might need to dress down their Delver just to block it, rather than get a second Dreadnought into play, because Dreadnought doesn't trample. And it doesn't have haste anyway. So this Saga might have betrayed me. Okay, so Uro's coming back in. That looks like their play here. Yeah, I'm definitely not winning this one. I guess if the top of my deck is Brazen Borrower, I can still win this game. But that's my only out that I know of. Right, Uro triggered. Here's the 4, put me to 2. If they have Bolt, I lose. They don't even have to cast the Bolt. Relic, that's pretty good. They can't pop it right now, but even taking one card off, Uro is probably going to be enough. Alright, so I get to see what I'm going to draw for turn. Please be Brazen Borrower. So Ponder. Alright, so I'm going to float a colorless mana. Cast Dress Down. So creatures don't have abilities. I can still Ponder into Brazen Borrower and have a chance here. This also assumes they have no counterspells of any kind. Alright, I mean, Dress Down does give me a chance. Actually, it doesn't. Oh, yes, it does, because they have Tarmogoyf. Okay, so if they have any counterspell of any kind, I lose. I'm just going to Dress Down in the upkeep. Like, I'd rather ambush in combat, but that's not necessarily guaranteed. Also, I want to Dress Down before attacks anyway, because I don't want Uro to trigger. They drew a card with Relic in response. Dress Down. Alright, here we go. I am no longer dead on board. I am dead to Lightning Bolt. Let's see what they got. And I do have 2 Dreadnoughts that can crunch for 24 trample next turn if they don't find what they need right now. So they did not take any extra cards with the library. I don't think they can afford to. Found some black mana. So they are the full 4-color Delver. I mean, the Bayou was already giving that away. Alright, they're digging. If Dress Down carries this game, I'm just going to be so happy. Just let me have it. Dress Down has made this game was made possible entirely by Dress Down. So they pondered after their brainstorm. They couldn't shuffle in between. They shuffled their ponder. I expected that to happen based on what they did so far. Sudden Edict. Alright, I can't respond to that. And now they have lethal attackers even through my blocker. I guess I'll let them make the lethal attack first. Or I just trust that they'll do it right. Okay. Alright, they found a removal spell. Turn 1 Delver on the play. Flipped on the first turn. That was that whole game. I think we're doing pretty well. If that doesn't happen. So now I'm on the play. Does Days get better? Does Soul Guide Lantern do anything? Well, yes, I've seen Uro now, so Soul Guide Lantern does have some text. Dress Down, real good, big fan. I guess I already have Endurance in the deck, so maybe I don't need the Soul Guide Lantern. But Urza Saga being able to pay out just a random cantrip, if nothing else, I do like that. I think I'm gonna go down 1 Uro, which might seem crazy. Actually, I'm going to take out the blue Elemental Blast. Now that I've seen that they're 4 colors and that they have black removal, I'm sure they have Pyroblast and Lightning Bolts, but it's in smaller numbers than I would have thought previously. And they're an Uro deck too, so yeah, change of plans. I'm on the... Whoa! Oh my god. For a second I thought we were still playing against Jund, and I was like, why is this carpet in my deck? But I remember where we are now. Briefly disoriented. I'm going to keep this hand. Carpet is phenomenal, of course, and then having Uro, Dreadnought, and Stifle, like, yeah. Let me have it. I think I'm just going to go Vista Pass on turn 1, though, because stifling a land on the play is worth doing, and they've shown me Taiga and Bayou, so I don't necessarily want to float this carpet out there when they could play around it. Maybe that's being silly, but no. Alright. I definitely had a heart attack. Like, my brain just jumped back to that Jund matchup, and I thought I misclicked something. Sorry if that was loud, but Hopefully my noise gate caught it. Alright, so just Vista Go is where I want to be here. I'm sure this doesn't look like a stifle at all. I just hope they can't play around it. Alright, they can play around it, but they played around it by playing an island, which is what I wanted the whole time. So now I can play Carpet of Flowers with Daze Protection. And if they force it, I'll take that deal, I guess. So hopefully if Carpet resolves, I don't even care if they have Wasteland. Alright, Carpet resolves. I can jam Sylvan Library, but I'm just going to play around their soft permission this whole game. There's no reason to shove Library into Daze if I don't have to. There's no reason to put down Stifle if I don't have to. So I just get a lot of options here. Yes. Let's make some blue mana. So I can Uro and Stifle it. I can't do all that with Force Backup. Maybe I just Uro. Maybe I just Sylvan Library. Yeah, make them answer like one thing at a time. Ignore soft permission forever. Still holding up the Stifle for their fetch land. Yeah, I don't hate this line. Oh, I hate that line. Stop. That is a 2 for 2. Is it worth forcing? I don't think so. Nah, you can have it. That was a really nice Force of Vigor, though. Congratulations. So I still have Stifle. I still have Uro. Can still go for Dreadnought. Ooh. I think I'm going to dress down in their end step. That gives me the most agency, the most mana. I can still play around soft permission. So end step, dress down, sneak it in there. I don't like this Wasteland very much. Backup library is nice. I think I'm going to have to stifle the Wasteland if they go for it. So they can Red Blast or bounce my dress down. Guess I stifle that. I would like to keep my lands under me during this game. Do I Ponder first or Dreadnought first? Oh god, do they have Stifle? The first appearance of Stifle. The middle of game 3 is not when you want to see Stifle for the first time out of an opponent. Okay, it's not Stifle. Get the island. So I can Ponder. I do want to hit my land drop. This might be greedy, but I'm doing it. I found the land drop. Dreadnought. They can Red Blast Dress down in response, but it's already cantripped, and I have Forced Backup right now if I want to lose my Uro. I mean, I don't want to lose my Uro, but if I need to lose my Uro. They've also shown me Sudden Edict, which Dreadnought's never going to beat. A little end step Brainstorm here. Fetching, still in the end step. Dress down trigger, still on the stack. Alright, dress down's gone. They have some like Shatter. Oh, there's no black mana over there. So it's not Sudden Edict. Ancient Grudge is really good. These are all old cards that have been used historically to beat Phyrexian Dreadnought. But if you don't have it, you don't have it, and we can just be done. I'm fine with that. I have Uro Sylvan Library still in the tank here, even if they do answer this 12/12. Meltdown for X equals 1. That's a sweet card. Destroy all artifacts with converted mana cost X or less. Yeah, I'm not going to force that. I think Uro will do better work as an Uro. They fetch the Bayou. They have their own Sylvan Library. Is this where I fight? Or do I think Uro can overpower their library? And I have my own library? Alright, Uro, let's go. You're up, fella. A land would be great. Then I could Uro and library. Which one is more important to have in play? I think it's library. I could hold on to this Ponder, just feed it to the Force of Will. I think I want to move in on Uro. Just hitting the land and finding library would be so big here. Alright, that's fine. Alright, now I have Force. I can pitch a different thing to Force. I'll Ponder. That puts the shields down to Daze, but I don't think that's a huge deal either. This is a shuffle. I'm very interested in hitting my land drops. I don't want to just have my Uro taken off by Wasteland. I can Force of Will something like Surgical Extraction or Clothis. I might let Clothis resolve and then just try to overpower it with Uro because I get the first move there. Choosing to move in on Uro and ignore Sylvan Library was definitely a choice there. I'm not sure if it's going to pan out. Grist the Hungertide. What does this card even do? Make a black and green insect creature token, then mill a card. If an insect was milled this way, put a loyalty counter on Grist and repeat the process. You may sack a creature. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Target opponent loses life equal to the number of things in your thing. Okay. They can have that. If they kill Uro like 2 or 3 times with it, it's not even a huge deal. It is cool that it comes with card selection off of the Sylvan Library. But yeah, I have enough in the tank that I can just refire Uro at will. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Exile the things that Tarmogoyf would care about. The artifacts and enchantments are all gone. Red Blast. We're going to fight here. Uro's in. If I can play around Daze, that would be great. Alright, I can play around Daze with my library. That's all I wanted in the world. And now I can play the library. I'm going to waste them off black. At least get the Sudden Edict out of play. Alright, here we are. F6. Grist can kill Uro once. And then I bring Uro back. And they'll have to come up with another creature to sacrifice because they won't be able to make an insect in between. And even if they kill Uro, library is active, but they also have library active. This is a good game. They took 1 extra card with library, paying 4 life. Alright, so they're sacking the creature, destroying the Uro. So they have to remove library and exile Uro for me to be really behind here. Or they can just put this straight to protection from instance mode. Okay, they gave me a turn to kill this with instance. Not that my deck is capable of killing anything. Okay, so 2 + 4 is 6. Yeah, that can't get into Progenitus mode next turn. Ooh. I'm gonna put one of these. Alright, so if I pay 8, I go to 14. Uro puts me up to 15. And yeah, I think I just want to keep it all. I'm greedy like that. Blue, blue, green, green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uro trigger. Urza Saga comes in. I can start making creatures. I can dress down Hexdrinker. Holy crap. That's so insane. Alright, so they'll probably sack their Delver to kill Uro. And then... Or I can save this dress down to get a Dreadnought into play off Saga. And these Endurances are just their own different thing right now. They get to show up, mess up Tarmogoyfs, mess up Uros. Wow, opponent paid 4. They're not expecting a 3/4 flash out of me. Expressive Iteration, okay. This is a good draw. And I guess Daze is the card I have to respect right now. Alright, they exiled Wooded Foothills and then played it. That Uro is exiled from a Force earlier? Or is that Uro in exile from Iteration right now? I've kind of lost track. Alright. Yeah, sure. That card is in play. Luckily, they can't activate Grist at instant speed and sack the Uro that was going to die anyway. That would be too easy. So hopefully they sack Delver, kill Uro, attack with Hexdrinker, and then Endurance just mops the fucking floor with him. Alright, so Uro's gone. Daze gets me pretty good here, but I have a second Endurance, and I think I have to make this crazy play. Gotta play to the huge blowout. Wow, we're in. Get your graveyard out of here. Block. That was messed up. Okie dokie. I don't want to count my chickens, but I think we're going to 4-1 this league from this position. It's going to be pretty tough to mess this up. All right, top of the library, keep Coatl. This Carpet of Flowers is going to go completely nuts. Attack for 3. I get to make a construct with my carpet mana. Yes, make green. Cast Coatl. Make a construct. Now I'm still sitting on Dress Down and another Endurance. I could Dress Down just a cantrip, but that kills my construct. Okay, that finally came up, that Dress Down kills constructs. Now where I hope it doesn't matter. I would be impressed if they can win this game. I'm not saying it can't happen, I'm just saying I'd be impressed. Hex Drinker, another one. They could just make it a 4-4, but that doesn't even matter. Alright, so they are just leveling it up. I can dress it down at will. So I'm not going to make a construct with my Saga, because I think that tutoring the Dreadnought is better than that. Yeah, that is an awkward interaction, but luckily we're far enough ahead that I don't think it's going to super matter. Okay, that's gone. But I basically can't dress down. Alright, so this will lose flying and death touch. Or this endurance is lethal, I'll just cast it. We'll just count it like this. Alright, we did it. 4-1. Looking at this deck and being like, it doesn't really have any removal in it, I'm a little worried about that. Dress down, being able to manipulate what creatures actually do on the board was worth a lot. A lot of tricky plays here. I think we got lucky at least once finding what we needed to, but that needs to happen once in a while in Magic. Endurance was insane. This deck can clock pretty well. I still feel like you can improve the deck by splashing into black probably and just making it bug, but as far as Simic, just straight Simic goes, this was pretty impressive. Having 8 ways to get a Dreadnought into play. Dress Down being card neutral compared to card negative on Stifle is a huge upgrade. Also, that turn where we played 2 Dreadnoughts off the same Dress Down, that's just completely messed up. I think that Dress Down and Dreadnought might make a resurgence here, or Dress Down might help Dreadnought make a resurgence in Legacy. Urza Saga was pretty medium, honestly. Maybe if we just had like one extra thing, even just a main deck Soul Guide Lantern, because there were a lot of turns where we just didn't have the Stifle or Dress Down, and this just went to the graveyard without doing anything. Also, the tension between Dress Down killing all your constructs makes that side plan a little bit goofy. So I don't know if Saga's really necessary, but the Dress Down Dreadnought was really impressive. You can add a color to this if you want. Maybe don't if you don't. Do what you want. We put up the 4-1. Puchipo, this is a pretty cool deck. Thank you for sharing it. Everyone, invest in Endurance and Phyrexian Dreadnought now, because those are both going to be cards moving forward. Endurance, though, let's talk about this for a second. This card, I think, is going to help reshape what Legacy looks like. Just being a graveyard hate card / doomsday hate card / 3/4 flash for 3 mana. There's a lot going on here. It has a real body at a reasonable price and has a powerful effect besides. Like, this card is good against Delver and Combo out of the fair green decks that generally aren't great against either. So this card is going to be very, very good. Very big part of Legacy moving forward. Get used to it. So thank you, Puchipo, for submitting this list. It was a lot of fun to play. Succeeding with it also helps. Everyone, if you think of any better ways to build this deck, you saw anything I could have done better, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to check it out. Again, if you're interested in getting in on these Is Simic Good Enough in Legacy conversations in my Patreon Discord, my Patreon link is in the video description. Remember to like and subscribe while you're here, and I'll see you for the next video.